Illusion in the deck for a while. And for once, I think he's onto something here, both Ryvius and Raven on this one, because it's not a bad card at all. Frostbolt has been a mainstay in many mage decks since the dawn of Hearthstone. And obviously, when you're going for it up against Demon Hunter or even Bomb Warrior, it's a very powerful inclusion. And I really hope we get to see it in action here for Ryvius.
Oh, it is so exciting. But it still remains a question of whether the lack of a Wand Thief in the beginning could hurt the mage's early game plan, because that is also, Alan's philosophy when playing this matchup from the mage end is you need to have threats early on to try and challenge their Spirit Jailers, their own Wand Makers, and then follow up into the card draw. Frostbolt, I want to say, is only impactful towards the end game when you're trying to close it out. Because if you Frostbolt defensively but aren't able to close out the game in the following turn, then Demon Hunter can likely just heal up.
The tech inclusion of Spectral Sight coming in big here for Posesi versus Alutemu. Yeah. I believe that's 2 Spectral Sights for 2 Battle Fiends that he's teched out. And clearly here, working great for him because Posesi has all the early board control cards you could possibly want.
Oh, insta pickup of Mirror Image. This was Blitzchung's thing that he had last game, right? He had both the Mirror Image and the Frostbolt to try and delay the Demon Hunter. Will Ryvius also pick up the aggression to close out the game? Ryvius did hold on to the Solarian to make sure he could get the Cram Session for 2 draws this turn. Shenvala.
Ooh. This is a hand from Ryvius. He's got all the defensive cards that you could possibly need with Frostbolt, Mirror Image, and a Taunt. All he was lacking here was a proactive option, and Shenvala is the proactive option in the early game.
Yeah, next turn he can just play that with Coin and the 2 1-cost spells. But for now, Posesi has the Marrow Slicer on curve. He doesn't have Blade Dance per se, but the Shard Shatters, for all intents and purposes, would fill a similar role. So I'm interested in just equipping this and swinging face.
Have my attention, Gia. You definitely have my attention. You have to be afraid of, I suppose, Coin Raz or Coin Jandis as the 2 expected plays and have a contingency for either of those options. I guess if Raz comes down, you have Shard Shatter plus attack with the weapon, which isn't dreadful. And in the case of Jandis, obviously Shard Shatter is fantastic.
And these, if you're going to see just Raz here, potentially you still even stick your Mana Feeder Panthera or the 1/3, depending where Ryvius wants to trade his Wand Thief. The only other line I can see is going even wider here. We could just see second Spirit Jailer Hero Power Mana Feeder, but with this amount of weapons in hand, I was super interested in Marrow Slicer. But Posesi's going for option C of clear the Solarian, make Raz weaker, and still go wider on the board. This is interesting because I feel like it kind of strands his Shard Shatters in hand.
You could definitely make that argument, right? I suppose he's thinking for the long game more so, and he's just trying to keep Mage on the back foot for as long as possible. Which I think is valid because, it's easy to think of this as an equilibrium where both players are just fighting backwards and forwards on board. But Posesi is getting in chip damage all the while this is happening. The longer he can keep Ryvius just trying to remove his minions, the more chip damage he gets through.
Yeah, that does go in Posesi's favor, I would say. Especially since Posesi's hand doesn't actually favor the all-face game plan. Now that I see it, he didn't have Lapidary to follow up.
Oh, man.
Okay, Spectral Sight, maybe Hero Power or Mana Feeder, just...
I think so, yeah.
Keep on with the board tension, it seems like.
I grow impatient.
No matter what he goes for, I hope to see at least one lab partner cleared off because Raz is just too threatened by this point.
I think so too. You don't want to have your entire board wiped.
Okay, he's going for the Marrow Slicer now. Does give up the Outcast on the Spectral side in all likelihood, but he is deciding that it's time to put his to turn on the gas.
Well, Ryvius has been holding off on the Shenvala, obviously trying to build up something a little bit more spectacular. Clearly, though, whatever he's been building up to now is the time to let rip with it.
The mana is kind of weird because he still has to coin to finish the Shenvala activation. So just going to go for the mana reservoir with the remaining mana.
He is walking pretty cleanly into a Blade Dance here, though, I will say. Like, with the minions on board as well, it really shouldn't be too difficult for Posesi to set up a very strong Blade Dance.
Yep.
Obviously, he
Or
doesn't
even
have
just... I mean, we're looking at a Shatter Shard game plan. I'm just not sure whether you play both to just clear everything up, or you can just kill off Shenvala, you play 1, and leave up the 5-2 by that point to fit in a little bit more face damage. But looks like he's going for the full clear, and this is fine as well.
Yeah, I'm on board with the double. Maximum damage through to face. Like, he doesn't have the super high damage hand yet, but literally every card in his hand draws a card, so he will have it soon enough.
And Ryvius's board control is completely lost now. This is what I was talking about with the Frostbolt. If you don't necessarily have a way to support your lethal game plan, the Frostbolt feels kind of like just delaying the inevitable. Should probably just freeze the 3-2. He is looking for the Giants, for the Jandis, anything to justify Frostbolt.
Yep. He really, really needs the Giant. He needs, I suppose, Evocation could do the job as well. Like you said, Jandis. Just any of the threats. He's missed out all the meat of the deck. Oh. That's kind of tempting here, I gotta say.
So can he set up a 2-turn lethal if he goes... I guess you can start with the Panthera. I'm gonna play the left Panthera and Blade Dance so you can clear up the Spectral side from the other side, but with Marrow Slicer in hand, that is almost certainly...
Yeah, it's going to have to be a very impressive defensive wall set up for Ryvius, which he does technically have in the form of Violet Warden just to stop a weapon hit coming through, but I'm very skeptical to say that it will be enough.
Oh man, he has the Frostbolts, but he doesn't have anything good to pair with them.
It's a very sad first outing for the Frostbolt build of the deck.
Perhaps.
Is this a Conjurer's Apprentice hand? I hate it already after having said it, but I think that might be the line. It's like Apprentice, Frostbolt base, Ray of Frost these minions, conch the Apprentice, and then go for Warden Bolt the next turn.
I do hate it. You are correct on that line, at least.
It's what the hand does.
It is what the hand does.
I will hear arguments for just Warden, Ray of Frost on the 3-2 and pray they don't have Kayn. Hold out for another turn.
I think the problem is that, like, Apprentice with Conjurer's Calling cast on it isn't even better than an Apprentice on average. Like, the amount of attack you get on board really doesn't matter all that much at this point. You need to do something absolutely spectacular.
I see.
And he needs to do it soon, because after the second Frostbolt is up, Ryvius is just dead. Or he might even just be dead to the board with Kayn coming down.
Yeah, Kayn as well is disastrous. Ryvius needs Giant, he needs Conjurer's Calling, and he needs Walking Fountain plus Tyrion or something like that.
Oh!
Ooh!
Okay, this was the thing. He can
That's
fit
the thing.
in the wait,
In the
doesn't
Frostbolt?
fit, right? But not both Conjurers.
No.
So we have 2 shots at Walking Fountain.
Perhaps.
Because he's just dead on board if he doesn't hit once or healing.
He is.
Because we've already had Frostbolt locked up for the face. That's not it!
Well done.
That's GG! And this is the deck that I thought Ryvius was trying to target. It's through.
Yeah, the Demon Hunter getting a win here is absolutely massive. Again, we have to remember the Paladin was in a great spot against the Demon Hunter, of course, as that is one of the main reasons to bring Paladin in the first place. He has Demon Hunter with double Frozen Shadow Weaver in there to try and target the mirror. He has Mage with Frostbolts to try and target the Demon Hunter as well. Everything was pointing in some way, at least having a nod towards Demon Hunter. And as you so eloquently put, first game of the series is already through. Ryvius needs this win in this series to fight for his life in Grandmasters, and he's off to a terrible start.
I don't want to talk in absolutes yet, but if he goes down to 1-5, it feels like he's going to be auto-relegated. And oh my goodness, don't want to see that happen, but there are still chances to pick it up in this series. If not the Demon Hunter, Posesi does have Weapon Rogue. I can imagine Frostbolt being very relevant there, as well as Frozen Shadow Weaver.
Yep, indeed. There's still obviously chances for Ryvius to turn things around, but we're going to have to see if here Ryvius can do exactly that, because I do believe Posesi to be in a very good spot in the matchup, all things considered. We are going to go to a short break now, but when we come back, we're going to see if Posesi can go all the way, or if Ryvius can save his chances, I suppose, of getting staying in Grandmasters entirely, because he's fighting for his life, absolutely fending off relegation. We'll be right back to see if he can do it.
벌써 어려운데? 세 가지 단어로요?
세 가지로 하니까 좀 애매한 것 같네.
Hearthstone player, caster, fan.
穏やか、楽、丸いって感じですかね。
用3个词形容我的话是很努力，然后认真工作，然后很爱玩遊戲。
自分を3つの言葉で表すなら、うまい、オタク、雑。
스트리머, 하스톤 게이머, 뭐 30대 게이머 이렇게 할게요.
저를 세 단어로 표현하면은 슈퍼, very cute, maybe.
Welcome back to Hearthstone Grandmasters. It's our third series of the day. You may be wondering what happened to the second series because it was a lightning fast victory for Blitzchung. And already we're seeing things go off to a good start for Posesi, but a terrible start for our player fighting for his life in Ryvius. I will say that for Posesi, he is far from safe 100% at this point. He has 3 wins and 2 losses as opposed to 1 win and 4 losses. But I still get the opinion that we've got a lot of Posesi fans here in APAC. He's made quite the splash since he came in at the start of last season here. And as you and I can definitely attest to and have done many times, he's absolutely been one of the best competitors we've had join us here in APAC Grandmasters. So while we'd be sad for Ryvius, I definitely think we can both agree that if Posesi does take the win here, there is none more deserving than he.
For sure. There are positives and negatives with every result coming forward today, but for the rest of this series, I have to say I'm super worried for Ryvius because even though I was talking about how the Tekken, the Mage, and the Demon Hunter could still give him good shots against Posesi's Rogue, I'm not sure how this Paladin is getting through. We were testing Paladin versus Face Hunter, and I just could not catch a break as the Paladin.
Yeah, it's not looking fantastic, is it? With no Warrior to be hit and the Demon Hunter having taken a win, the Hunter isn't a good matchup for the Paladin, and the Rogue isn't an especially good matchup for the Paladin either, I'll say. Posesi does have a... I guess you could argue somewhat non-focused build of the deck because he doesn't have a super high damage build, but I'm not even necessarily sure that that will work against him because when we were testing this matchup, the one thing that I found was kind of your key to victory as the Rogue was as long as you keep the board clear every single turn, Paladin just doesn't do anything. They just die.
This is a matchup where AVT is correct. Derek,
exactly.
You can always value trade, and the Paladin can never stick any of their big buffs and immediately trade with them, and that is a death sentence. But Ryvius's opening hand is fire. He has 1-drop, 2-drop, certainly a decent turn 3, no matter which of the 2 drops he plays, and then Lightforge Zealot for the true silver, whereas Posesi has nothing to support his self-sharpening sword.
This is by quite a long margin the best hand that you can hit in basically any matchup. First day at school, a fantastic pickup as well to just fill out the curve with Murga next turn. I think Ryvius is just in a fantastic spot here.
Yep, certainly is. And Posesi is just gonna put in the 2-turn clear on this Eldar Librarian. I think it is completely necessary and reasonable to expect that you can kill it the next turn because the big Paladin buffs start around 4 mana.
Looking for any taunts here that he can hit.
Wait, that's Loki insane. The Voodoo Doctor. Hello? Hello? Voodoo Doctor 2020.
I mean, they're
that's
both
insane.
These are premium 1-drops.
Yeah. But I'm going Voodoo Doctor Murger here
every
single time.
That's ridiculous.
Oh
Look at this.
God. Posesi's like, I haven't seen that card in years. Why is it beating me?
He's just getting beaten up.
Yep.
All right.
Ryvius needed to catch a break. He really did.
1-drops, Dread Corsairs.
Okay. 1 Dread Corsair, which gets VT'd by the Eldar Librarian.
Or I mean,
Voodoo
even worse.
Doctor. Yeah.
Voodoo Doctor in 2020. Who'd have thought?
You're right, though. Even worse, Lightforge Zealot is coming down, but no choice for Posesi.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's a one-option game plan from here on in.
He has Jandice by turn 5, but is he surviving that long?
Ryvius just on the edge of his seat again. You could see in the first couple turns he couldn't even look at the board state, but now he is pumped, Gia. He has the Dream Curve still. He has not floated a single mana this game, and he's not going to do so for a long time yet to come. No saps in the deck for Posesi. This Blessing of Authority is going to be massive.
Game ending, quite likely, in the next 2 turns. Actually, Ryvius is just 1 off lethal right now. Okay, Posesi has a clear on 2 minions, but oh my goodness, he does have no answer whatsoever for Blessing of Authority. A lot of the times as Paladin, you see your opening hand, you mulligan everything that's expensive, you close your eyes and hope that you get the goods, and this time it worked out.
This is it. We played this matchup, we played against Face Hunter multiple times. This is the hand you need to hit to beat the aggro matchups, because Paladin, as soon as it falls behind on board, the game has ended. Especially this pure build that doesn't run the pen flingers, it doesn't run the brooms in the deck either. There is no catch-up mechanism whatsoever. But Ryvius got the hand, and he has been given a chance to stay in this series.
What makes something real?
Okay, we're looking for taunts for Posesi, 2 of them. Okay, that's sometimes 2. And, you know, it's just big enough that the True Silver can't get through. Not over yet. Mukla?
Mukla! Oh my god.
Man. All in on 1 minion? Yeah, no sap.
Absolutely.
You're scared of Miscreant doing funny business, I suppose?
Yeah, if you trade into the Dark Scale, which you know to be the Illusion version, it's much more difficult to clear, but I guess with the weapon unable to attack in, it's almost impossible to clear anyway.
This way, Ryvius gives himself the other Zealot for an out of lethal without having to use his minion. Kind of close. Posesi does not have mana to go Miscreant into Ethereal, into Sap by this point. But he can look for a taunt, but doesn't get it.
Wait, he had the clear with Krastenov, right? Wasn't that the play?
Did he have it?
He had exactly 13.
Oh, yeah. Ah.
Am I missing something here? That looked
no.
super clean.
I agree.
And now he's just dead.
He has a Dread Corsair, so he can stay alive.
Shadow Step is actually literally the card to clear off with Kobold Lackey here. He does now have the clear.
Oh my god, he's in it! And he could just be winning if Ryvius doesn't have...
What? No!
If Ryvius doesn't have Zealot, and even if he does have it, there's a taunt in the way.
Blood and plunder.
Against Paladin, this does kind of just feel like winning.
It does. This is what I was saying. You have to be able to stick the board. And like, I disagree with both of the turns from these players. I think Ryvius should have traded in to the Dark Scale healer with his weapon on the previous turn to stick the minion. And I think Posesi should have just jammed Krastenov to get the damage to face on the previous turn as well.
I agree.
What is happening?
Krastenov Eviscerate is happening? Oh my god.
Oi, oi, oi.
Trade off to 1/1s, Krastenov 1/4 into 1/1s. Posesi sets up 2-turn lethal. What is this?
This keeps happening to Ryvius. He gets given these dream hands and have it ripped away from him.
Not over though. Libram of Hope is huge. Still no sap. He can keep delaying, but the Goody 2 shields are garbage at this point. They never get to connect face.
Yeah, complete garbage. Like, no, you can't just throw both of them down. Like, I was thinking you could throw both of them in hero power and hope that one gets to connect, but it's just not a thing.
Oh my goodness, the draw doesn't stop, but he doesn't have a way to kill this 8/8 without face tanking it, and he cannot face tank it. So, hide behind the taunt and pray? That's where we're at? Arrowcat can't give anything, right, that deals damage immediately. Not this turn.
And then we can see, on the other side, if he doesn't clear this off, the Silver Hand Recruitia with Hand of Adal off of Lady Liadrin, or the Blessing of Authority off the top, is exactly what Ryvius needed to clutch this game at the end. That was way closer than it had any need to be.
Yeah, I mean, right from the voodoo doctor, I thought Ryvius had that in the bag, but it was so tense there. Towards the end, he is extremely stressed. Posesi is extremely stressed. I hope these two players take the time to think about their turns. There was no fear of the rope by any stretch of the imagination there.
Yeah, I hope they take the time to think, but honestly, I hope they don't think about that game. Ryvius in particular, I want him to put that out of his head. Whether he thinks he played correctly or incorrectly, I don't care. It doesn't matter now. The game's over. He got the win. Paladin was looking like the weak deck for him by quite a long margin with the Hunter and the Rogue left over for Posesi, and he's been given a chance to win this series of Hearthstone. He just needs to be in the most zen mind state he can possibly get himself in.
Yep, he has a good shot. I was saying the Paladin was the one that looked like it could not escape, but against that poor draw from Posesi and the clutch Libram of Hope at the very end there, Ryvius does have another lifeline here. He has to get a win with the Mage and the Demon Hunter. I think the Mage is looking pretty shaky, but the DH at least, good matchup versus Face Hunter.
Yeah, and I think against the Weapon Rogue as well. Obviously, Frozen Shadow Weaver looking to be MVP there. Arguably, the Frostbolt could be very good against the mages, against the rogue as well, sorry. Obviously, denying the weapon hits, or also just clearing off some of these mid-game minions could be very powerful. Because, to be fair to Ryvius here, I think that the rather slow build of Weapon Rogue that Posesi has gone for with the Pharaoh Cats, with the Evil Miscreants, I think puts him slightly more on the back foot than you would expect to be generally with Weapon Rogue up against Mage, because usually you have the Toxin Blades thrown in there, or maybe even Greenskin, or, you know, Sinister Strikes even, as some players have taken to put in the list.
Yeah, also no Worgen Infiltrators for Posesi,
Right.
so the Greyheart Sages are slightly less consistent, but looks like it'll be the Face Hunter to start off for Posesi. And already, tough mulligan decisions, but I'm thinking none of these are quite good enough. I want to see Phase Stalkers. I want to see Scavenger's Ingenuity, because Posesi's not running the Felmos.
Yeah, I'm looking
Oh, he has
at...
one copy, my bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at Tour Guide, because I think that can synergize with a lot of your draws if you're going for a triple mulligan on the other ones. Obviously, Phase Stalker, it's deceptively powerful with the Dwarven Sharpshooter as well, but I also absolutely do not hate a full mull.
Yeah, I mean, Tour Guide is, I think if you look at all the matchups across the board, the highest mulligan win rate card.
Right.
Against specifically Demon Hunter, it goes down a little bit, but as you said, there are so many cards that synergize well with it. I'm just of the opinion that in this matchup, you need the heavy hitting cards as opposed to cards that let you conveniently ping off minions.
Yeah, this is all very cute from Posesi, but it's not that much damage quite yet.
And that's why he's playing out the Volpertingers as is. Maximum damage on the board right now. He does have a curve for the next turn. Sharpshooter, Tour Guide, Ping. That's a clear on one maker. And that just puts you with 5 damage on board.
Yep, I like it a lot. A card was kept in the mulligan that wasn't played on one, and you can really start to narrow that down. Obviously, it's not the Spirit Jailer, or it would have been played, and so one maker is pretty high up the list of cards you're expecting to see.
And Ryvius is not going to play it out here because he expected to get pinged off one way or another. So technically, killing off the Volpertinger could save him more HP. But oh my goodness, Phase Stalker Tour Guide next turn.
Yeah, looking so premium here, and Ryvius left with no shards in the deck, although the Soul Shard does give him the option to do that whenever he needs to activate the Shard Shatter, which is massive.
Yeah, he's going for it here because he's worried about the other Volpertinger, but against the Phase Stalker, the Shard Shatter is not very impactful at all. Can't fault Ryvius for it though. Secret package from Posesi is 1 freezing, 1 pack tactic, 1 pressure plate. No snipe. Oy, oy, oy.
So nothing can mess with just going for the Marrow Slicer, and then you can think about what you want to do with it. I think just like Marrow Slicer face, because you have quite a lot of weapon swings to try and get through, is tempting.
It is. You can go for that race game plan, right? Especially with Eldraki into Soul Shard Lapidary, but there's a reasonable chance you can clear the board across 2 turns if you go Hero Power into the 1/1, equip Eldraki Warblades, and even if you trigger a pack tactic, the next turn you have
True.
Shard Shatter Swing to get rid of the 4/5. But that's a lot of damage in the meanwhile, so Ryvius is just going for re-equipping his Eldraki instead.
And it just looks like a pretty clean Hero Power Felmore here. I think it's still early enough where it's worth going for the Dormant. It's not like it's going to be useless. I think that's going to become active around just the turn you want to try and go for lethal, ideally.
Okay. Can still get the Shard Shatter now.
This is clean. I like
Yeah,
this a
going
lot.
for it this turn, you do take less damage than the line I was suggesting. I think this is just strictly better.
Very
Good
nice spot from
from
Ryvius.
Ryvius. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's so huge. He can curate the Dragonbane off the top the next turn, but the problem is there's these small minions in the way. It also means he'll be quite far off from ever drawing a beast to pair with Kill Command.
I still want to go for it, though. Like, if it's not that, it's Dwarven Sharpshooter, Demon Companion, Hero Power, which is a reasonable play, I suppose, curving into Lawkeeper plus Hero Power next turn. But I just want to get the Dragonbane next turn. I want to go Dragonbane into Eaglehorn Bow.
It is the highest output line. It's just so hard to assume whether or not the board gets cleared in the near future. Posesi does get the board control based outcome with the Refa here.
Oh,
And now
you
he can
gotta
go for
be
the
looking at it.
halfway. Yeah. Yeah, I want to pull Celt. A good shot that the 5/4 also hits the 2/2, clears the way for the Dragonbane. Or they all go face, and that's a winning outcome too.
Yeah, we'd take that as well. Ryvius, though, has no slouch of a turn at all. Lapidary, Twin Slice probably thrown in as well just for some more heal. All looks incredibly powerful on this turn.
Yup. Oh, but there's value in Spirit Jailer also messing up the Dragonbane target that you know is coming next turn, and also messing up
point.
the Thelma target, so he's going to go for it instead here. This is going to be such a close one.
Oh, that's good for Ryvius.
Yeah, that's insane. Now both the Dragonbane targets are good. Slightly better to hit the 5/5, I think. Oh my god, back-breaking for Ryvius.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not even sure what was good there. Like,
That's insane! This top deck! It solves all his problems.
that's just the clip. Straight up the card he needed to draw, and all of a sudden, Posesi just doesn't have the damage or the board control.
He doesn't.
Eaglehorn Bow, 6 damage. That can get him down to 8. With a couple of hero powers plus 2 kill commands, he potentially has lethal in the next couple of turns.
Yeah,
In fact,
if he gets the other kill command, that is just lethal.
it's 50% lethal on the following turn.
Uh-huh. And Ryvius has no way to play around it. He's just setting up for his own 2-turn lethal. Oh my god. It's coming down to the coin flip.
Because of the poke out, there's 1 bow, 1 kill command left in the deck for Posesi. It's just a straight up coin toss to see if he can get the win right now.
Oh my god, it can't look.
He's
Posesi's
praying!
He's praying hard. He got it!
There it is. Someone somewhere has answered his prayers, and Posesi goes up 2 games to 1. A single win with the Rogue away from taking it, and Ryvius, I think, there knows exactly what was up with that draw.
These two cameras, side by side. 2 expressions, looking similarly stressed, but the relief for Posesi is palpable. The series isn't over yet, Dara. You're still the mage.
And even though Ryvius is in the far more dire of circumstances, we have seen Posesi be by far one of the most emotional, one of the most nervous players that we've had here in Grandmasters. Visually, it's not even just in his like facial expressions and his body language. He literally can't stay in the chair at the end of his series. Whether he wins or loses, he's just a bundle of nervous energy. And he's so far been able to keep it under wraps, because I think this week and in previous weeks, he's still been playing some very strong Hearthstone. I think there was that one blip with the Rogue up against the Paladin, which, you know, arguably has some reasons to go his way, but I think was pretty clearly just not counting up the damage easily enough with the Krasnov. But it all comes down to it now. He's won 2 of the games, a single win left with the Rogue, and he's got 2 reasonable matchups left for him to try and take the win with.
It is true. However, both of these decks from Ryvius are tech to mess with weapons, be it the Frostbolts in the Mage or the Demon Hunter having the one of Ooze, I believe, and the double Frozen Shadow Weavers. It's gonna be a tough time for Posesi to swing with the self-sharpening sword. But the upside for Weapon Rogue compared to, say, Bomb Warrior is that they do have minion support to try and shore up the damage. Jandis's early stealth minions can be a huge deal.
Yeah, like I know that Ryvius was more targeting Demon Hunter and Warrior, I think, but I'm still just left kind of confused by his strategy overall. Like, I think with the Mage, with Frostbolts put in that, is that really what you want to do instead of just putting in a class that's just good against Demon Hunter and Bomb Warrior? Like, can we really not just put like Druid in there that's just good against those 2 classes without having to mess around with any kind of weird tech cards?
Yeah, well, given the short amount of time to test, maybe the nerf on GA made that a little too scary for Ryvius to pilot. I definitely still believe in Mage as an overall powerful archetype, and we did only see 1 sample size for the Frostbolt build, so let's not count it out of it yet.
Well, here it is. We are, you know, all here with all the spectacle and the showmanship of GM, whereas Ryvius, for him, he's just sat in a room playing a game of Hearthstone for his life here in Grandmasters.
Don't put it that way, Derek. I can't watch. No.
It's very tense. It's extremely tense.
And already you're seeing the impact of the Violet Spellwing Death Rattle, putting Posesi off from just curving out with the Sneaky Delinquent and the Greyheart Sage. The missiles are too scary. They could snipe off those stealth minions.
Tempo Shenvala here, it's probably correct, but not necessarily the insta-play, because Ryvius does have access to now Wandmaker plus Wand Thief, which could juice up his turn next turn for a big Apprentice plus Cyclone, and I actually think I like the deviation away from it here. Oh, Ray of Frost, let's go!
That's insane. Big Apprentice plus Cyclone, which generally shuts off the big Shenvala pop-up. Actually, yeah, that is probably worth it.
I love this.
I was just thinking there was potentially a way to just win the game straight up if the Shenvala isn't cleared, and then you go for Apprentice the next turn. But if there were a single deadly poison to come down, then you feel really awful.
Things get again more complicated, because it could be the decision that Ryvius delays again on this turn. He gets down the Shenvala, essentially forces the trade, and also throws in another missiles into the mix.
Oh, this is such a tough turn for Posesi too, because you want to get down the Steel Dancer, but you also want to draw with the Greyheart Sage.
I'm Steel Dancing here, I think. I want maximum stuff on board.
May I have this dance?
But then you're trading 2 1-drops into the Shenvala? Okay, giving up the stealth minion. He does have enough draw anyway, and the regenerated stealth. Yeah, I think that's good.
And here it is. Ryvius has been setting up for this for multiple turns now. This is the turn where everything has to turn around for him.
The lab partner too! That's another Ifra! Oh my god, this is a full clear every single time.
Mirror Image as well can be used just to stop the weapons even going face at all. This is a ludicrously powerful turn.
Wait, hold on, aren't you supposed to start with a Ray of Frost?
I guess he can just use them both to freeze?
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I had it in my head that he'd pick the other Ray of Frost, but if you're going for Mirror Image, this does seem like the best option.
What are we looking at?
Getting pushed out of the game! Brain freeze!
Brain
Ice
freeze
barrier,
insane.
hello?
Oh!
Potion? These are all nuts.
These are powerful options. Potion to get another Cyclone, another Apprentice, more taunts, even if they're just 1/1s, are incredibly powerful in the matchup.
I'm already thinking Posesi needs some nuts Jandis to get out of this.
Not looking good.
Eviscerate kills the Apprentice, but what else?
I think you take that, right? You can go Cutting Class, Eviscerate, play your Stealth guy. Next turn, Steel Dance is looking strong.
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, it all just feels like playing from behind, but you're right. Weapon Rogue, if you have a weapon, there's still a way. Stealth guy, you've seen all the missiles? Oh my god, the Frostbolt tech!
So what does he even go for? Like, Ice Barrier at this point is not a high priority at all. He'd much rather fight for tempo.
What about Polymorph?
Yeah.
You don't even need to Frostbolt yet, right? But Frostbolting potentially saves you one of your mirrors, which you want to pop.
Yes.
It's so
close.
difficult. Yeah.
I think I like saving it for a more crucial turn.
Okay.
Alright, we're looking for a big 6-drop.
May I have this dance?
In the box! Oh, that is a big 6-drop.
Not bad at all. Value is the least of Posesi's concerns now. It's just about making sure he doesn't die straight up. And Ryvius here has 8 damage directly to the dome, or I guess if you want to look at it another way, just an answer to this 5/7.
This is really tough to evaluate. I think he needs the value, so starting with the potion, then he can go for a Frostbolt, then he can go for a small Cyclone.
Yeah, he could have gone Lab Partner Frostbolt.
It's all going to the dome.
Yeah, he's just going for the Cyclone on this turn. It's not an especially high value one, but it's actually, yes, a very high value one, because the power of creation is big. But at the same time, he needs to make sure he's not dying because of the tempo on the other side being absolutely backbreaking.
This has been so strange of a pan out that the Weapon Rogue has had so much minion presence, and the Mage has all the burst that wants to go face, but does Ryvius have the license to do that? It doesn't feel like it just yet. Oh my goodness.
There's just too much stuff. He can't fight through all this, all these stats on the board. It's too efficient from Posesi.
And Posesi can just eviscerate a minion here, like a 2/2, just to spend his mana, because
Sure.
there's not a great way to clear up board space for him. I guess 3/1 into 2/2, and then Shotbot instead.
Yeah, this all looks fine to me.
Prioritizing clearing his spell damage, and then the rest goes face. I like that. Is this a 2-turn setup? It definitely feels like it's a lethal setup.
Yeah, I think it's there.
Raz!
Oh!
Lab Partner in hand. 2 damage to everything. Stealth minions dead.
Oh, it's close. It's close, but it's not quite enough. It buys him that turn.
This has gotta be enough, right?
From who?
For Ryvius. The Raz clears everything, but okay, why did he freeze that one and not the Steel Dancer? I'm confused. I was gonna say it's gonna clear everything but a 3/1 and the Shotbot. But now there's a 4/2.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree. Unless like you want that one to die specifically, but that doesn't make much sense. You'd just rather freeze the maximum damage.
So many.
Okay, maybe it's not enough for Ryvius. Posesi can just keep refilling. He doesn't even need Secret Passage. Spy Mistress Greyheart. Eviscerate kills Raz with the 2/1 trade.
Fate awaits you in the ashes.
And because you've seen Raz, I think it's fine to have much less respect for the lab partner. But with double backstab, he can clear everything anyway.
So clean, so easy. Damage represented, easily being lethal on the next turn.
And now for Ryvius, we're looking at a clutch power of creation.
Into Sunwalker, I guess? Safeguard?
Or the just stall them out play with Ice Barrier Frostball. That's also valid.
Right.
Jandis?
Oh, gee, I don't think it's enough.
I don't. Oh, he went for that so quickly. Sunwalker? Hello? Wait, is that better than. I guess the taunt, the Divine Shield hardly matters because there's so many small minions. He
Yes,
went
with
for
all the
that
small
so quickly.
minions. Yeah, he really did. That was so fast. I guess like Sunwalker is not that good. Like it kind of just has 7 health anyway. If something could
True.
attack into it for 2 or less damage, so this
Like
is
the dagger.
probably slightly better. Yeah.
Yep. So, Secret Passage feels like it could just be lethal, but we've seen double eviscerate,
Bang,
so
bang, bang, bang.
it's like Krasinov. That's the big one. I
Yeah.
think Krasinov is lethal.
It's just short of lethal here. Just.
Is it?
Krasinov!
Yeah, that's lethal.
I think that's just it.
That was the draw. Dude, Ryvius had such a complicated turn. I wasn't even sure if it was power to begin with. He could have gone for odds with, say, Jandis Barrier. I don't know. It's not even that high odds to find taunt to begin with off of Power of Creation. Posesi cannot stay in his seat, but that feels like the death sentence for Ryvius. Oh my goodness.
It does.
1 in 5.
You can only be so happy as a competitor when you are essentially eliminating such a worthy opponent in Ryvius. But for Posesi, you know what? I think even if he can't be elated, he should be proud of himself for a very well-played series of Hearthstone, essentially guaranteeing himself safe from those bottom 2 spots now, I believe, because he was at a slightly better score going into this. 3 wins already. This bumps him up to 4 wins now, equaling Alan, Shaxi, and Flurry, I believe, all in that first place spot right now. And so for Posesi in particular, it's looking like a strong recovery. It was looking very scary at the start when he lost his first 2 matches of the round robin, but he's now, I believe, on a 4-series win streak here and looking much more like a player that can start setting his eyes towards playoffs. But even with all the happiness, the sadness must also come, as it